So you need in every startup commercialization, you need three skill sets. You need somebody with a vision that came up with this new idea, somebody that knows how to make it happen successfully, and the third is somebody with the relations with money.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. My name is Rick Nusky. I am your host. I'm also the luckiest person in the world to be able to host this show and bring you amazing talent. And in fact, I have talent that is coming back to the show because they've enjoyed the experience so much. And on today, I'm with the wonderful Ari Brish. How are you, Ari?
Good. How are you, Rick?
I'm excellent. I have 2 feet and a heartbeat. I can't complain. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. Actually, I'm the lucky person here. You accept me the second time. So thank you very much.
Oh, look, it's an absolute pleasure. Always happy to have you. Now, just for context, Ari, I'm going to share with the audience that you are the founder and CEO at CXO360, and we're going to be talking about various aspects of your work, including the differentiation technique, emotional aspects behind products and services, human aspects of the innovation process, learning curves, and innovation challenges found inside large corporations. Now, that was a mouthful to get out.
Right. So you choose. You have a menu there. You click
Oh,
on
look,
one and
absolutely. Look, just
start from there.
before we do that, since last time, Ari, I know that lots have happened, but there's also a lot of new listeners on the show. That much I can be sure and certain of. So I think it's important to go over, I guess, some of the basics. Now, if you don't mind, I'm wondering if we can start off with where you're located.
Okay, I'm based here in Austin, Texas. If some of your listeners don't recognize the accent, not to be a Texan one, I grew up in Israel, went to school in Israel, and started my career working for American companies in Israel. And through those engagements, I was moved back and forth by different companies. And the last time I just got stuck here and living here since then.
Wonderful. I wonder, has your education in Israel, does it, are there any differences in terms of, I guess, cultural application when you come to the States?
Yes, indeed. It's hard for me to really put a finger on the difference because there is also a difference in time.
Yep.
Right now I'm teaching in a university today, like 50 years later, and there is difference, and I'm not sure if the difference is different countries or different times. I think both. The education in Israel is more, and it leads to maybe our conversation later.
Yep.
Is more, especially in the engineering. My undergraduate is in electrical engineering. The education in Israel is more functional.
Yep.
Okay, the better you are in solving this engineering problem or that engineering problem, the better engineer you are, which there is some truth to it, but that's not everything. And some of my studies and my experience later on is more about the human aspect. Even in engineering, in the human aspect, you're dealing with people.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, no matter what you're designing, at the end of the day, there is a person on the other side. So you're dealing with people. You're dealing with the marketing aspects. You're dealing with the financial aspects. There's so many other disciplines that makes a business successful, and that was not emphasized enough, at least back in the days when I went to engineering school. It was not emphasized enough back in those days. So it was a cultural shock to some extent.
Yeah.
To realize that, I'm doing this marvelous engineering creation, but yet
There's
it's
people
not
behind it.
accepted well
Yeah.
because it didn't fit the budget or it didn't fit the schedule. It was an eye opener as a young engineer.
Now,
But
you talked about 50 years later being teaching in university. What is it that you're actually teaching at the moment, Ari?
I'm right now teaching different classes all around innovation in business.
Fantastic.
So entrepreneurship, innovation, new products, different classes with different names. They all kind of overlap and have different focuses, but it's all around commercializing innovation. And that's what the book, by the way, behind me
Lay
is
an egg.
the book I published a couple of years ago,
Yep.
focus on the commercialization process.
So when you're teaching somebody who's new to you and new to your commercialization process, what is the very first thing that you introduce them to? Concepts or models?
Yes, concepts, but many people, including my students in many cases, people confuse the word innovation
Mm-hmm.
with high technology. So one of the things I'm trying to convey is, or one of the concepts I'm trying to convey is the fact that innovation is not synonym for high technology. Furthermore, in many cases, even when you are in the technology industry, the innovation aspect of whatever new product you're developing is not necessarily in the technology of this product. It could be in a different business model, addressing a different market segment, um, addressing different human behaviors. There is lots of other ways to innovate, even if you're developing a semiconductor chip or a piece of software or application.
There seems to be an opportunity for innovation that's almost omnipresent, Ari. What have you seen in terms of the application, practical application of innovative ideas given the nature of the pandemic? Has much changed?
Yes, so for the different companies, different things changed. Many businesses had to redirect.
Mm-hmm.
So many businesses suffered from the COVID, at least initially.
Yeah.
But on the other side, uh, if you are flexible enough to pivot your business, you can take advantage of a new situation. Every crisis brings an opportunity, right? So, for example, one of my clients is doing different chemical products, I would say, without
Yep.
conveying the name.
Yep.
Different chemical products for machinery. Once COVID started, they realized that with some adjustments to their process, they can make hand sanitizers pretty
Oh,
much with
yes.
the, within weeks.
Yep. Yep.
They switched to do hand sanitizers and did very well. 2020 was their best year ever
Imagine that.
because they were so quick in switching to hand sanitizer. Let
Can
me
I
see if
can
I
I just
have.
add to that, Ari? I also heard a similar story for beer manufacturers switching their VAT systems over to hand
Mhm.
sanitizers. Yeah, that's a really
Yeah,
great example. Do you have any
yeah,
others?
yeah. There is another outfit here actually in Austin, Texas, where I am based. It's a vodka distillery that
Oh no.
did exactly the same
Yeah.
that my client did. They converted or modified the production line to create hand sanitizers from their vodka. So all you need is add a little gel to the vodka, and here you go.
Where you go. Can you tell me, if you don't mind, is the process, are there commonalities in the innovation commercialization process, or is it a unique thing that's based per customer, I
Yeah,
guess?
yes, good, very excellent question. So one of the things I'm trying to convey in my teaching and in my book
Mm-hmm.
is that you can learn from different industries, no matter where you are, whether you are designing a new computer or a new app on your phone or a new vehicle, automobile. the generic challenges of commercializing a new product or an innovation is kind of very similar if you know how to translate
Yep.
the challenges from one industry to another. And I made a great effort in the book to bring examples from a variety of industries. And I myself, in my consulting business, I had jewelry, I had oil and gas, I had high tech, of course, I had cybersecurity, I had
A
wind
lot.
energy, I
Yeah.
had e-cigarettes.
Oh, wow.
You know, so much variety, and the process in the commercialization is there are certain things that are common to every product, no matter where you are.
This seems to be a conversation that you would have, Ari, in your lecture rooms, where you
Yes.
would have existing business representatives coming and essentially playing together and shifting ideas around. How exciting is that when you see new ideas come to the fore?
Yeah. So one of my pet, I would say, pet assignments to my students is send them out, and in addition to the normal textbook that is required by the class, I give them an additional assignment to go and take another book, call it a book report on
Mm-hmm.
some real business story, and they come back with a variety of reports that everybody learns from everybody, and the students become the teacher for themselves. So if you
Yes.
have 20 students in the class, you have 20 case studies, real life case studies that are far beyond anything you can learn from a textbook.
I,
Forgive me, my
No,
textbook
that's fine. I
authors.
I feel that the innovation process is such a variable that it may take longer for one student to come up with a commercializable, if that's a word, idea as opposed to somebody else. How many times do you think generally does somebody have to try and try again before they come up with an idea that's viable?
Yeah, so now you're touching on a different issue, and that coming up with the idea, or one of the words that is being used nowadays is called ideation. That's the
Ideation.
process of coming up with new ideas. And you know, some people are more creative, and some other people are less creative in coming up with new ideas. So that brings another discussion related to that, and that has to do with have a team of people, even a small team of people with different skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody may have a great idea, but that somebody, in many cases, don't know how to make it happen.
Make it happen, yeah.
Okay, so you have the visionary in every startup. You have the visionary,
Yep.
and then you have the operation executioners.
Mm-hmm.
So you need in every startup commercialization or any new business commercialization, you need
Mm.
at least three skill sets. You need somebody with a vision that came up with this new idea,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that knows how to make it happen successfully,
Mm-hmm.
and the third skill that you need in many startups is somebody with the relations with money, because in many cases the person with the idea doesn't have the money required to make it happen. So and doesn't have the relationship in many cases. So
Yeah.
you need these different
The different skill
three
sets that
skills in any team. Yeah.
I wonder, it leads me to start thinking about, you talked on about teams within a startup. If, say, you're working with an existing established business who are looking to introduce something new to commercialize, oftentimes I wonder if the leadership team has such an ingrained culture that the rest of
Yeah.
the people within the team aren't allowed essentially to
Yeah.
be their best selves. Do you see that, and
Mhm.
how do you counter it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the limiting factors in innovation in existing businesses, and especially in large companies, is the people resistance to change. So you need every organization needs some kind of a process that will step you out of the box and force you to think about new ways to innovate, or new way to revitalize your business. And many large companies realize that this is a limitation for themselves, and in the past 10, 20 years, you see that different companies created different processes on forcing their people to think out of the box about new innovation ideas. And that's something that you haven't seen in large companies. If you go back 30 or 50 years ago, you haven't seen that self-realization that this is the resistance to change is limiting their competitiveness. Now, most big companies, you'll find some kind of process, either one or even more processes, that will force themselves to think about new ways and new innovation ideas for themselves.
Thank you for the feedback, Ari. I'm loving this call. I can picture myself in your lecture room, sitting amongst other very highly skilled individuals, all having a different question. What are some of the most popular questions that you're asked?
So the students walk into the class thinking that the class is all about how to innovate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what when I come to the class, the first thing I'm telling them is the innovation part is only the first step, and then the execution is the more. You can find lots of good ideas that never made it because they failed on the execution. Okay. On the other hand, you can be a okay innovator, nothing really outrageous, but you execute well, and you make it to some extent, at least. Maybe you're not the next Google, but
You have an
you
idea.
make it to some extent, doing okay with your business results. If you have a great idea and you don't execute, you fail.
Yes.
If you have an okay idea and you execute well, you do okay
You do
with your
okay.
business.
I sit here and I think to myself, will there be some very bright minds in the room? And from a practical perspective, Ari, how does one go back to their business and say, look, I have this process now, this that Ari's teaching us, and to be aware of all of these different aspects. Do you treat the innovation commercialization process like a project? And if so, are there particular steps to follow?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So when you have an existing business, you have to almost step out from your day to day, and for different people may their brain may be triggered in different situations.
Ways,
It may
yep.
be while you're jogging, maybe in the shower,
Yes.
maybe take a walk on the beach. Whatever it is that triggers you, force yourself to take advantage of that and take notes. I mean, sometimes people go and meditate on the beach,
Yep.
and during the meditation, some idea comes up, but then when they go back to the office, they forgot
Forget
what.
about it. How many times I've done that?
Yeah, right. Exactly, it happens to me a lot. So
Yeah.
sometimes I send myself an email. I know, okay, I'm not working now. I'm doing something else, but I'm afraid that tomorrow morning in the
It's
office,
going to be gone.
I will not remember what my great idea was the night before. So I send myself a brief email saying,
Mm-hmm.
look up this or that, and the
And there
next
it
day
is.
I'm coming and I Google for this and that, and start to develop it. So
You can only imagine how much data could potentially be within a project, within an organization for one commercialization idea. How long
yeah,
do you see these ideas before they come to
yeah,
fruition? Is it months? Is it
yeah, yeah.
years? How long does it take
Well,
usually?
it's different industries. Some industry could, if you're in the medical industry developing a new drug, that could take 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
If you are in a consumer business developing, I don't know, the next fancy pen for Christmas, it takes you months. So there is no hard rule, but or hard number, but the process is very similar in the steps you have to take in whether you develop a new pen or you develop a new drug. You have to make sure you are developing something that people need. You make sure that it's different enough from competition. You have to make sure you have the funding to market it, the funding to manufacture it, and you mentioned learning curve. That's another area where is being largely neglected by businesses. The fact that at the beginning it costs you more money to build whatever you are building,
Mm-hmm.
and the concept of learning curve is just the fact that you become better as you do it more and more times. You
Yep.
become better in it. Whether you have a talk show, I'm sure today you do so much better than you did when you started,
Yes.
and that's true to everything you do in life and in business and in work. And this concept was, I would say, formally described in the 19th century, 1885 or something, and yet people today in 2022 are being shocked that, oh, we thought it will cost us $10 to build, but how come it cost us $50 today?
Mm.
That's because that's the first time you build it, it costs you $50. You
Costs you
have to build
more.
10,000 of this to get to the $10 cost. And also for service, if it's a new restaurant or a new hair salon or whatever, new library, the beginning, the initial baby steps cost more money, and people are being surprised every time it happens, even though it's almost 150 years old theory. People still being surprised about the fact that it costs you more to build
More.
the first few products.
I have a question. You just touched on earlier about how I was doing something better today than I would have done yesterday, which is true, absolutely. And given my experience with continuous improvement, I wonder how
Mhm.
close a relationship there is between innovation and actual continuous improvement, which is more incremental.
Yeah, right. So innovation could be incrementals. One of my students presented, I forgot the name of the book, but anyhow, even incremental innovation is innovation. So
Mm.
there are two ways to innovate. Either you know,
Wholesale.
invent something that will change the world in the next 10 years,
Yep.
or you just do small steps. And Toyota, by the way, Toyota has a process of encouraging employees to come up with new suggestions, and the new suggestion can be how to save, I don't know, 2 minutes in you cleaning your office at the end of the day. That's incremental
Improvement.
innovation,
Yep.
and they have hundreds of thousands of ideas like this every year, and
It,
every little idea like this save them, I don't know, so much money,
hours
and
and
but
time, yeah.
you multiply by 100,000. That's a big saving.
Big saving, absolutely. I asked earlier a little bit about some of the techniques that we were expecting to see inside of your book. What's the differentiation technique about? Could you share that with us?
Yes. So the concept I'm promoting in the book is, I called it, I think the chapter title was, it's better to be different than to be better. And the point there is you have to differentiate yourself to a point where you make your competitors irrelevant, or at least you create a new game. Okay, you create a new game. It's like in sports. Let's say you play basketball and then you say, okay, let's find a way to shoot the basket in 2 feet higher than everybody else. And so you change the rule of the game. That's the best way to innovate is by changing, or the best way to differentiate is by changing the rules of the game to a point where your competitors are not even playing in this field. You play here, your competitors are here. So
You're world apart.
You're the only one playing here, and the playing here could be almost the same product. It's just focusing on a different market segment, for example. Could be the same product, just focusing on a different
aspect.
You can take a pencil and say, okay, I'm going to create a pencil for people, elderly people over 70 years old. Okay.
Depending on the human being at the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah. What do I need to do to make this pencil more suitable for 70 years old people and above? And you start to go through the process, and you create a product that, okay, everybody else do pencils for the whole world. My pencil is the only pencil good for elderly people, and pretty much you created a whole new market specifically for this market segment, whether it's elderly or, I don't know, you define market.
Yeah, absolutely.
Female above 40, between the age of 30 and 50 in Australia.
Yeah.
That's a market segment. Now, you start to analyze what makes this market segment unique, and you create a product focused on this particular market segment.
Now, we've touched on incremental improvement / innovation, knowing that this is your world. With your book and applying that idea, have you got something else coming through the pipeline in terms of your books? Are you doing any other things?
So most of my writing is blogging and writing papers for different media outlets. Even the book started me writing papers, and after a while I realized, okay, if I put all these papers together, I could make a book.
So, did you enjoy the process, or was it a challenge?
Yeah, I enjoy, because if I'm at a stage of my life that I enjoy sharing,
educating,
my thinking with other people or younger people. So I post short papers a few times a month on different topics, including topics that already covered in the book, but I develop them. The more I focus on
that
aspect, I find more examples, or sometime I'll take a piece in the media, a news case, and apply the concept we're just talking about here. See how they apply on the news case.
See how they mesh together.
Yeah, my most recent paper I wrote was about, I don't know about Australia, but the whole world, the shipping industry is clogged.
Yes, it is. Same applies here.
Okay, cool. So I wrote an article about how to balance different segments in a process. It's called Q theory. That's one name in the literature, or operation studies. There are different names in the literature, but what it says is you have a queue, or you have a process of different segments, and over time you learn, you take measurements, and you learn how to balance between all the service stations. Okay.
Yep.
But if one part of this sequence goes out of balance, it's like a traffic jam.
Yes.
If you have a accident on the highway, very quickly it clogs the whole highway,
It
right?
cascades,
Miles
doesn't
and
it?
miles away.
Yep.
The same thing happens here.
Mm-hmm.
The COVID kind of slowed down all the commerce activities. Now the shipping, the suppliers trying to catch up on what they lost in 2020, but the receiving end, the ports, the trucks, the trains at the receiving end are not
Getting through.
prepared.
It's that classic cause and effect, isn't it?
Yeah, right. So it's all over the world. At first, I thought it's only in the US.
No, no, no.
And
I
it's all over
found
the world because now the supply mostly coming from China or whatever other countries. So they try to catch up on what they lost in 2020, but the receiving ports are not ready to receive it.
Now, I'm sure there's people on the call were listening to that last section intently in terms of your blog. They're obviously seeking fresh content. Not only are we going to share with them in a moment how they can get your book, maybe it's in the same place, but where is your blog located, your website?
So I publish in different places. The most common one I published is LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And LinkedIn limits you. It used to be 1,300 characters. Now it's, I believe, 3,000 characters. So
Oh,
you have to
wow.
be very good
Very
in
brief,
being very
condensed.
brief and condense the message, deliver the message in a very brief matter.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a teacher in high school, history teacher. His standard homework was, okay, you read this 50-page chapter and summarize it in one page. So, thanks to him, I became very good in taking a whole thing and,
Condensing it down.
condense
Yeah,
it.
that's wonderful. I wonder if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about CXO360 with us and what's that all about.
So CXO360 is just the legal name of my business
Entity, yep.
or my consulting business.
Yes.
But through that, I have multiple activities. Right now, mainly I'm sitting on several board of directors of different companies. So
Mm-hmm.
people kind of hire me to help them on whatever challenges they have. One of my clients is setting up the strategy. Another client is helping in fundraising. Another client is helping in business development. So there are different challenges. And I think the main asset I bring to the table is, number one, I've seen so many different industries
things.
and
Yeah.
new product launches. I was involved somehow. Looking back, I'm aging myself. I was involved in hundreds of new products at different aspects
Yes.
and different industries. So that's one. The other one, because I was involved in so many projects, my network of resources and people is also pretty large today.
Pretty strong. Yep.
Pretty strong, so many years later. So
you can't buy
people hire
experience,
me
can
for
you?
my network.
Absolutely. You can't buy experience, can you?
Yeah. So it's experience plus network,
Network,
plus
yeah.
the people I know, and so I can call on people no matter what industry because of the different projects. Although people change jobs, so sometimes I know person X used to work for this company, now he or she working for a different companies or retired or I don't know what, but there's still a massive network of connections that also I bring to the table. So my connections and my experience, that's all. In shorthand, it's my old age.
Yeah, I wonder, do you do anything online? Can you help people around the world, or do you have to be face to face?
Oh yeah, definitely. So right now I have let me see, a client in the US, not in Austin. I have one client in Austin, just happened to be in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
I have one client in the UK. I have a client in Israel. I have a client in India. So I'm
truly global.
Especially now with the Zoom.
Yes.
But even before, I was very global, just happen to be based in Austin, Texas, but my business is all over the world.
Well, I know that there's a lot of people on this call be very interested to meet with you, connect with you somehow. So where are they going to go to do that?
Okay, there are at least two ways to do it. One is the website CXO360.net.
Mm-hmm.
And don't confuse the letter O with the number 0. Many people mix them up, and
Yes.
for some reason there is the email doesn't go back. I mean,
Yep.
probably somebody with a similar email, just the 0 and the
Of
O's
course.
are
Yep.
converted.
Yep.
So CXO, the letter O, 360, the number 0.net.
Yes.
And you ask where do I blog? I have some papers that I posted there, and there is how to connect with me. The email is there.
Mm-hmm.
The other way is LinkedIn. If people are on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn big time, so you can send me a message on LinkedIn, and then
well, that's wonderful. I really appreciate it. Now, if you are on the call today, you're a startup, you're an existing business, regardless of size, and you want to connect with Ari, I'm certainly making sure that you have access to all the relevant links back to Ari. And Ari, having you back on the show has just been an absolute treat. So thank you very much for joining me again on the My Future Business show today.
Thanks for accepting me the second time.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.